Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade recently hosted conference on B20 Indonesia Global Dialogue in partnership with Confederation of Indian Industry in New Delhi. The aim is to align the perspective of Indian industry with the policy recommendations of B20 Indonesia. This conference would set tone for the deliberations to ensure that Indian perspectives are well represented in the policy recommendations of B20 Indonesia. Business 20, that is B20, formed in 2010, is the official G20 dialogue forum with the global business community. B20 aims to deliver concrete actionable policy recommendations on the priorities by each rotating presidency to spur economic growth and development. US President Joe Biden on Tuesday pledged that there would be consequences for Saudi Arabia after it partnered with Russia to announce a cut in oil production last week. Biden, in an interview with CNN's Jake Tapper, said that he believed it was time to rethink the US relationship with Saudi Arabia. The decision by the Saudi-led OPEC Plus oil cartel to cut production last week prompted anger at the White House, where officials said Biden was personally disappointed by what they called a short-sighted decision, CNN reported. The move, which came 3 months after Biden visited Saudi Arabia and met its de facto leader, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, has the potential to raise gas prices in the weeks ahead of November's midterm elections, CNN reported. Let's get straight why I went, Biden said. I didn't go about oil. I went about making sure that we aren't going to walk away from the Middle East, Biden said. According to Reuters, Biden's announcement came a day after powerful Democratic Senator Bob Menendez, chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, said that United States must immediately freeze all cooperation with Saudi Arabia, including arms sales. China's Xi Jinping became country's top leader a decade ago when he was named General Secretary of the Communist Party and the chairman of the Central Military Commission at the party's 18th Congress. The following March, he became the president. At the 20th Party Congress set to begin on October 16, Xi is widely expected to secure a third leadership term, cementing his stature as the country's most powerful ruler since Mao Zedong, the founder of People's Republic of China. Xi accumulated power both through specific one-time moves and gradually over time. Following are key ways that Xi strengthened his grip, according to analysts and experts. He circumvented economic policy making responsibilities typically held by the premier by chairing various small leading groups, including a new group formed in 2012 after he came to power for reform and opening up, as well as an existing group on finance. He undertook a sweeping campaign to purge officials deemed disloyal, corrupt, or ineffective and build his power base by filling those vacant posts with allies. So far, 4.7 million officials have been investigated. He tightened control of the military by initiating sweeping reforms and retrenchment from 2015. He controlled the domestic security apparatus with an ongoing cleansing campaign that has brought down many police chiefs and judges. She told state media in 2016 to toe the party line that their surname is the party. Since then, media freedom steadily decreased while Xi-related propaganda steadily increased. He formally established himself as the core of the party speak for paramount leader, in 2016. He amended country's constitution in 2018 to abolish term limits for the presidency, removing an obstacle for him to rule for life. Ahead of major Communist Party meeting in the Beijing next week, several cities in China were imposed fresh lockdowns and travel restrictions after the number of new daily COVID-19 cases tripled in recent weeks. China reports 2,089 new local cases for October 10. Shanghai and other big cities, including Shenzhen, have ramped up testing for COVID 19 as infections rise, with some local authorities hasting closing schools, entertainment venues, and tourist spots. Infections have risen to the highest since August, with the uptick coming from increased domestic travel during the National Day Golden Week earlier this month. In Shenzhen, where highly transmissible BF.7 Omicron subvariant has surfaced, local cases tripled on October 10. Inbound travelers will be subject to 3 tests over 3 days, authority reports suggest. Omicron sublineages continue to cause waves in various parts of the world, especially in the UK and Germany. Mutations occur in RBD or receptor binding domain of the spike protein of the virus. The permutation and combination of about 5 mutations have produced multiple sons, grandsons, and granddaughters of earlier sublineages like BA.2 and BA.5. This process is called convergent evolution. They have acquired names such as BA.2.75.2, also seen in India, BF.7 and BQ.1.1. Both are downstream descendants of BA.5. An unrelenting series of crises has trapped vulnerable Haitians in a cycle of growing desperation without access to food, fuel, markets, jobs, and public services. The Food and Agriculture Organization (FAO) and United Nations World Food Programme (WFP) warned on Friday. According to the latest IPC analysis, a record 4.7 million people are currently facing acute hunger, including 1.8 million people in emergency phase, and for the first time ever in Haiti, 19,000 people are in catastrophe phase. Currently, 65% of Site Soleil's population, especially the poorest and most vulnerable, are in high levels of food insecurity, with 5% of them in urgent need for humanitarian assistance. Increased violence with armed groups for the control of the vast and now lawless area of Port-au-Prince has meant that residents have lost access to their work, markets, and health and nutrition services. Many have been forced to flee or just hide indoors. Food security has also continued to deteriorate in rural areas, with several going from crisis to emergency levels. Harvest losses due to below average rainfall and 2021 earthquake that devastated many parts of the country are among the other devastating factors beyond the political and economic crisis. WFP stands with the people of Haiti, serving the vulnerable and helping the poorest. We are here to ensure school children get a nutritious meal each day. Families meet their basic food needs and communities are empowered, said WFP country director in Haiti. In what is being seen as a major diplomatic breakthrough, Israel announced a historic deal with Lebanon on Tuesday, aimed at resolving a long-running maritime border dispute over Mediterranean waters. Israel and Lebanon do not have official diplomatic relations, and the two countries remain technically at war. Analysts believe that this deal may pave the way for reduced tension between the nations. The draft agreement floated by U.S. envoy Amos J. Hochstein, who is the special envoy and coordinator for international energy affairs and leads the Bureau of Energy Resources at the U.S. Department of State, aims to settle Israel and Lebanese competing claims over offshore gas fields in the region. The issue gained significance after Israel discovered two gas fields off its coast a decade ago, which experts had believed could help turn it into an energy exporter, according to a BBC report from 2011. While Israel is already producing natural gas at nearby fields, what this agreement does is that it resolves a territorial dispute in the eastern Mediterranean Sea, in an area that Lebanon wants to explore for natural gas. The gas field in question is located on the maritime boundary between the two countries, and this agreement would allow both countries to get royalties from the gas. It also sets a border between the maritime waters of Lebanon and Israel for the first time. According to a New York Times report, the agreement is also expected to avert the immediate threat of conflict between Israel and Hezbollah militants in Lebanon after fears of escalation if negotiations fell apart. Ben Yes Bernanke, Douglas W. Diamond, and Philip H. Divik won 2022 Nobel Prize in Economics for research on banks and financial crisis. The committee said that the three laureates have significantly improved our understanding of the role of banks in the economy, particularly during financial crises, and an important finding in their research is why avoiding bank collapses is vital. Modern banking research clarifies why we have banks, how to make them less vulnerable in crisis, and how bank collapses exacerbate financial crises. The foundation of this research were laid by Ben Bernanke, Douglas Diamond, and Philip Divik in early 1980s. Their analyses have been of great practical importance in regulating financial markets and dealing with financial crises, the Nobel announcement read. The Swiss Riksbank Prize in Economic Science is awarded in memory of Alfred Nobel. While Alfred Nobel did not mention the economics prize in his will, the Swiss Riksbank established the award in 1968, and the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences was given the task of selecting the laureates in economic sciences starting in 1969. The announcement of Economic Nobel follows the Nobel Peace Prize, which has been given to civil rights campaigners from Belarus, Russia, and Ukraine. The Nobel Committee gave the Peace Prize to human rights advocates Ales Bialyatsky from Belarus, the Russian Human Rights Organization Memorial, Ukrainian Human Rights Organization Center for Civil Liberties. The World Post Day is celebrated every year on October 9 across the globe to create awareness on the role of the postal sector in everyday lives. The day also aims to increase awareness of the positive effects the postal sector has had on the economic and social progress across the world. October 9 is the anniversary of the establishment of Universal Postal Union in 1874 in the Swiss capital. The World Post Day was declared in 1969 by the Universal Postal Union Congress held in Tokyo, Japan. Since then, the day has been used in many countries to introduce or promote new postal products and services. The theme for World Post Day 2022 is Post for Planet. The United Nations, announcing the theme for this year in a statement, said, although the circular economy may no longer be a new concept, it is now more clear than ever that we must align with the principles of the circular economy. We must raise awareness of the post potential to tackle climate crisis, and we must drive overall resource mobilization across sectors. More than 150 countries have been celebrating World Post Day in several ways. In some countries, the day is observed as a working holiday. According to UN, in some parts, employees engaged in this sector are also rewarded for good service. There has been a 69% decline in the wildlife populations of mammals, birds, amphibians, reptiles, and fishes across the globe in the last 50 years, according to the latest Living Planet report by Worldwide Fund for Nature WWF. Biodiversity loss and climate crisis should be dealt with as one instead of two different issues, as they are intertwined. The International Wildlife Conservation Organization said in the report, highlighting the link between the two issues for the first time. The highest decline, 94%, was in Latin America and the Caribbean region. The report released October 13, 2022 showed. Africa recorded a 66% fall in its wildlife population from 1970 to 2018, and the Asia Pacific 55%, according to WWF report. Freshwater species population globally reduced by 83%, confirming that the planet is experiencing a biodiversity and climate crisis, the organization found. Habitat loss and barriers to migration routes were responsible for about half of the threats to monitored migratory fish species, it noted. WWF identified six key threats to biodiversity: agriculture, hunting, logging, pollution, invasive species, and climate change to highlight threat hotspots for terrestrial vertebrates. A rare protest against Chinese President Xi Jinping's rigid zero COVID policy took place in Beijing. Two large banners unfurled on the Sitong Bridge in Beijing called for the removal of Chinese Xi Jinping 2 days before being reappointed for a third term on Sunday, October 16. The banner read, "Say no to COVID test, yes to food. No to lockdown, yes to freedom. No to lies, yes to dignity. No to cultural revolution, yes to reform. No to great leader, yes to vote. Don't be a slave, be a citizen." Another banner hung on the flyover read, "Go on strike, remove dictator and national traitor Xi Jinping." Protesting against Xi's authoritarian rule, several photos and videos of the banners have become viral on social media. The banners have created a frenzy among Chinese nationals. After reports of banners being hung in Beijing criticizing the communist leadership were reported, China was quick to quash the news. China police denied anything unusual had happened in the area. While the pictures and videos spread like wildfire on Western social media, China removed every trace of pictures from Chinese social media handles. Some of the Chinese Twitter accounts were even taken down temporarily. She came to power in 2012 and is set to receive a third 5 year term as party leader at the end of the Congress. The protest is the result of Xi government's strict anti-pandemic policies that put lakhs of people under quarantine.